Adebukola Omemu. And we also have the acting head of department of the Food Science and Technology, Dr. Olatundu Kaji Hausa. The university librarian is approaching, Professor Abayomi Owolabi. The university bossa, Mr. Olukayode Oshinuga. The registrar, Dr. Titus Adeniyi. The deputy vice-chancellor development, Professor Kola Adebayo. The inaugural lecturer, 101 inaugural lecturer of this great university, Professor Obadina. And the vice-chancellor of this great citadel of learning, Professor Olusegun Babatunde Kehinde, a fellow of the Genetic Society of Nigeria, fellow of the Institute of Health and Safety, and also fellow of the Agricultural Society of Nigeria. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem, please.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign motherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang on to our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed. And so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
FUNAAB anthem, please. Also the Vice Rector of the African University in Cameroon, Professor Bolanle Akeredolu Ale. At this moment, Mr. Vice-Chancellor, it is my honor to specially invite you to give the Vice-Chancellor's address and the recognition of the inaugural lecturer. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Please be seated. Thank you very much. The Deputy Vice-Chancellor Academic in absentia is an official assignment. The Deputy Vice-Chancellor Development, the Registrar, the Bossa of the University, the University Librarian, Dean, College of Food Science and Human Ecology, other deans and directors here present, head, Department of Food Science and Technology, other heads of departments, programs, and units, distinguished members of the University Senate, all academic and non-teaching staff of the university, all special guests and friends of the university, members of the families and friends of the inaugural lecturer, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great FUNAABites. May I ask the inaugural lecturer of today, Professor Adewale Olusegun Obadina, to please stand and remain standing by my side. I have the pleasure to welcome you all to the 101st edition of the inaugural lecture of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, FUNAAB, Ogun State, Nigeria. Our inaugural lecturer of today, Professor Adewale Olusegun Obadina, was born into the family of Obadina, Ilodo, Ijebu-Mushin, Ijebu East Local Government on November 14, 1971. His father was late Pa Oluyemi Emmanuel Obadina, and his mother was late Mrs. Elizabeth Afolake Obadina, ní Olunuga, from Alimafo. Professor Obadina started his elementary education at St. James's Primary School, Idiape, Abeokuta, 1976 to 1982, and had his secondary education at Reverend Kuti Memorial Grammar School, Ishabo, Abeokuta, Ogun State, between 1983 and 1988. He then proceeded to the Ogun State Polytechnic, now Moshood Abiola Polytechnic, Abeokuta, for a National Diploma Certificate in Food Science and Technology between 1989 and 1990. He later attended Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Nigeria, for his Bachelor of Science in Food Science and Technology, which was obtained in 1998, Master of Science in Food Microbiology and Biotechnology, obtained 2002, and Doctor of Philosophy in Food Science and Technology, obtained in year 2006. Professor Obadina started his career as a food microbiology analyst in 1999 at Yale Foods, Ibadan. He later left for his postgraduate program in 2000. In 2005, he joined the services of Bells University of Technology in Otta as an assistant lecturer in the Department of Biotechnology. And in 2009, he was appointed as Lecturer 1 in the Department of Food Science and Technology, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. And he rose through the ranks to become a professor in 2018. Our inaugural lecturer has held several positions of responsibility in this university, some of which are Director, Biotechnology Center between 2016 and 2019, Head of Department, Food Science and Technology between 2019 and 2021, Member, Timetable and Examinations Committee between 2014 and 2018, Member, Universities Publication Committee between 2015 and 2017. About his services outside this university, Professor Adewale Olusegun Obadina, Officer, Quality Accreditation at the Association of African Universities, AU, Accra, Ghana, from 2024 to date. He is also a visiting professor at the Department of Biotechnology and Food Technology, University of Johannesburg, South Africa, between 2021 to date. He was a member, Board of Directors, International Union of Food Science and Technology between 2020 and 2022, and a member of the Board of Directors, African Continental Association of Food Protection, a position he has held from 2019 till date. Professor Obadina is also the chair, Global Harmonization Initiative, Food Safety Education and Training Working Group from 2022 till date. is a member of African Union.
inaugural lecture on the title, Inevitable Frenemies in Full Security. In full security. The Vice-Chancellor, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Academic, Deputy Vice-Chancellor Development, Registrar and other principal officers of the university, Dean, College of Food Science and Human Ecology, Deans of other colleges, and the Dean Postgraduate School, Directors of centers and institutes, ELD, Department of Food Science and Technology, heads of other departments, distinguished members of the University Senate, distinguished academic and professional colleagues in FUNAAB and from other universities, my academic mentors, my Lord spiritual and temporal, members of my immediate and external families and in-laws, special guests, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great FUNAABites. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, distinguished girls, esteemed colleagues, students, friends, and family, I want to appreciate the faithfulness of the Almighty God, who counts me worthy of giving this inaugural lecture as stated in Psalm 126, verses 1 to 3. It is with great honor and a profound sense of responsibility that I stand before you today to deliver my inaugural lecture as a professor of food safety and biotechnology. It's not only a personal milestone, but also an opportunity to reflect on the journey that has brought me here, to share the knowledge and insights gained along the way, and to outline the vision for the future of food safety and biotechnology. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, this inaugural lecture is the 101 in the series of FUNAAB inaugural lectures, the 10th from the College of Food Science and Human Ecology, COLFHEC, and the 6th from the Department of Food Science and Technology, FST. To God alone be the glory. Food microbiology as its core is the study of the microorganisms that inhabit, create, or coordinate food, that is, the inevitable frenemies. It is a discipline that bridges the gap between the microscopic world and our daily sustenance, ensuring the safety, quality, and nutritional value of what we consume as we consume food. Today, I will explore some of the challenges and opportunities that define the microbial food safety and biotechnology field in the 21st century. This will cover the global burden of foodborne illnesses to the innovative applications of microbial biotechnology in food production and preservation, the rise of antimicrobial resistance in food, and of a new era in food microbiology. This is an era where interdisciplinary collaboration and cutting-edge research will drive the advancements necessary to meet the needs of a growing global population. This inaugural lecture is a celebration of academic achievement and a call to action. It is an invitation to embrace the challenges ahead with courage and creativity, push the boundaries of this knowledge, and strive for excellence in all to be done. Today, it is possible to make significant contributions to the health and well-being of our society through the science of food microbiology and biotechnology. This inaugural lecture is titled Inevitable Frenemies in Food Security. Thank you for being here today. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, microorganisms, the inevitable frenemies, include bacteria, yeast, molds, and viruses. These organisms are ubiquitous in our environment and play crucial roles in various aspects of life, including food production and safety. Understanding the difference between beneficial and harmful microorganisms is vital for food safety, health promotion, and improving food industry practices. This has been proved by FAO in year 2016. Microorganisms in food can be friends or foes, affecting both safety and spoilage of food. For example, we have what we call spoilage bacteria. Example of this is when you have Pseudomonas in the milk. The milk may look good, very attractive, but may not be harmful when consumed. But it's also possible that the presence of that microorganism may also change the quality of that milk and make the milk not to be attractive. But if consumed, it's not going to be harmful. Those are spoilage microorganisms. We also have microorganisms that are pathogens. These are disease-causing microorganisms. Example is Listeria in food. You may have this organism in your food, and your food may look so attractive, nice flavor, but when consumed, such food can cause serious illness. We also have these classes of microorganisms that are called probiotics. Example of this is Bifidobacteria, a type of microorganism that is used to produce yogurt. These organisms support gut health and overall well-being of human beings. The friends. These are the beneficial microorganisms. These type of microorganisms are used in food fermentation and in the production of food. Essential roles in food production through fermentation, resulting in products like bread, dairy, and alcohol. This is to let us know that without these friends, without these microorganisms, many of our staple food, gari, lafu, fufu, bread, will not be available. We need them. Without them, we cannot sustain. They also improve the color, the taste, the texture, and nutritional value of food, enhancing marketability of such food. Fermentation, as we all know, is not strange to all of us here. It's a traditional food processing method that supports livelihood and enhances diets of many people in this part of the world. We also have some of these organisms in the class of probiotics, and they also help in improving our health. Probiotics are microorganisms that improve gut health and its natural defenses by promoting the growth of positive gut, create lactose intolerance, lower cholesterol, boost the immune system, and reduce gastrointestinal inflammation. These microorganisms, they are the ones that make it possible for people that are that cannot consume milk to be able to consume products that have been fermented, product that the sugar, the carbohydrate in the milk has been broken down to give us carbohydrate or sugar that are not complex. They also eliminate harmful bacteria through what we call bacteriocins, which is a secondary metabolite produced by these microorganisms, and enhance the body's natural defense. Who are the enemies? These are the bad microorganisms. These are the pathogenic microorganisms. Some of these microorganisms are into the group that we call intoxication. This group of microorganisms, they cause illnesses when they are being consumed contaminated food. That is, they produce toxins inside the food. The organism may not even be there after the production of the toxin. But when such food is consumed with the toxin, there will be a problem. Once these organisms have grown and produced toxin in the food, there's no need for viable cells during consumption of the food for illness to occur. An example of such a toxin-producing microorganism is Staphylococcus aureus. We also have another group of these pathogens that causes infection. They cause illness as a result of the consumption of food and water that are contaminated with these organisms that are enteropathogenic bacteria or viruses. I'm sure that when I'm talking about microorganisms, we know we are talking about bacteria, mold, yeast, viruses. Thank you. The cells of enteropathogenic bacteria and viruses must remain alive in the food or water during consumption. So we can see the difference between these two groups. The first group, you don't need the cell of that organism. Once the organism has produced toxin in the food and you consume the food with the toxin, there will be a problem. But this second group, you need that microorganism or those microorganisms to be present in the food that has been consumed to cause the problem. Example is salmonellosis and hepatitis A. We also have a group that is called toxical infection. This causes illness from ingesting a large number of viable cells of some pathogenic bacteria through contaminated food and water. Generally, the bacterial cells either sporulate or die and release toxins to produce the symptoms. Examples of these are Clostridium perfringens. Still on the enemies. The first set of enemies, we look at those that causes diseases when they are present in food. The second one that we want to consider now are the spoilage microorganisms, those that makes our food not to look attractive for us for consumption. Generally, microbial food spoilage, for such to occur, several events need to take place in sequence. Number one, the microorganism have to get into the food from one or more sources. The food environment, which are either the pH, water activity, the nutrients in the food, or maybe the food itself as natural inhibitory agents. All these should be able to favor the growth of one or more types of these contaminated spoilage microorganisms. When we talk about food spoilage, this happens in raw food and also in most processed food. Normally, that contain many types of molds, yeast, and bacteria that are capable of multiplying and causing spoilage of such food. Multiplication is an important component in food spoilage. Bacteria normally start this process, followed by yeast, and this happens when they are in a favorable position over mold to cause rapid spoilage in food. That is the bacteria now. But an aerobic packaging can reduce this spoilage microorganism in our food. But this doesn't happen to bacteria because we also have some of these bacteria that are anaerobe in nature. food microorganisms and food security. Food microorganisms significantly affect food security in various ways. Number one, they reduce food waste, or they can reduce food waste. They can improve crop yields through microbial control and biofertilizers. They can also enhance food safety by monitoring foodborne pathogens. They also increase or improve the nutritional content of the food via fermentation and biotechnologically enhanced crops, addressing malnutrition and boosting food security. Now there is a challenge globally. People are more concerned now about what we call antimicrobial resistance. That is another area that WHO, FAO are spending a lot of money after COVID. Overusing of antimicrobial agents in food production can lead to the organism in such food becoming resistant, hindering control of such pathogens. Strong regulations are essential for ensuring the safety and efficacy of microbial application in food production. We are considering and enhance existing technologies for safe, sustainable use. There's also need for public awareness and education. Educating the public on the benefit and risk of food microorganisms can improve acceptance and utilization of microbial technologies for food security. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, I want to share with us what I've been doing with my students in the laboratory, both within and outside the country, and how we have been able to contribute to knowledge. As a researcher, my research output have been classified into the following 4 topics, investigating the activities of Frenemies toward food security in Nigeria. Number 1, the positive roles of these Frenemies in food security. Number 2, the negative roles of these Frenemies in food security. Number 3, how can food security be enhanced through the management of these Frenemies? And lastly, what I've also been able to do in the area of training and capacity building on the importance of these Frenemies. As I said, Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, I'm going to start with the positive roles and to also let us know that fermentation is one of the key aspects in which microorganisms has been able to improve food security and can still be able to improve food security in the country. Microorganisms, lactic acid bacteria, for example, are responsible for the fermentation of different classes of food substances, e.g., cereals, fruit and tubers, dairy, legumes. We, my team, Ayodele et al. 2019, studied the bacterial strains isolated from cassava-derived fruit products, and for the first time, from cassava byproducts, with a focus on gari, a flour-like product, and the effluent from the production processes for gari and fufu. A total of 47 strains were isolated, all of which were tested to determine their resistance to acid and to bile salt environment. Because when these organisms get into our system, the environment that will determine if they will be able to survive at the level of the pH and the bile salt within the system. So 4 of these 47 strains with pathogens like MRSA, Listeria species, Salmonella species, to identify the strains of these lactobacillus that are responsible for this, and we are able to identify what we call lactobacillus fermentum. This finding suggests that bacteria from cassava-derived items could be viable for probiotics. Still under the positive roles of microorganisms, I also want to share with you just one of what we did under food preservation. How can these microorganisms preserve our food? Microorganisms like lactobacillus and Saccharomyces are used in the fermentation process, which helps to preserve food by producing acids or alcohol that inhibit spoilage organisms. In 2000, Obadina was able to find that Lactobacillus plantarum from fermented maize can inhibit the spoilage of mold in food, therefore extending the cereal shelf life like ogi from 2 to 5 days, and which was effective for up to 4 months if they are kept or keep in refrigeration at pH of 4.5 to 6.0. In another research, my colleagues and I, Ajayi Oba et al., 2016, studied lemon juice ogi mixtures, mixing lemon juice with ogi, to see how they can resist the growth of pathogens like Listeria monocytogenes in our food. And it was discovered that 50% lemon juice with white sorghum blended together can inhibit bacterial growth on vegetables. Within 10 to 20 minutes, if we apply that, I'd like to stay for that period, showing that there is a promise for natural solution in food safety. It is possible to explore these natural available materials to preserve or to extend the shelf life of our food. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, we also move forward to see how can these friendly organisms involve in positive roles, involve in food security of cereal products. Sir, fermentation not only preserves food, but also enhances it. With my colleagues, Janet et al., 2016, we studied the effect of fermentation and malting on pear millet flour and biscuit functional properties and the nutritional potential. The results showed that both fermentation and malting significantly increase swelling capacity, oil and water absorption capacity of the flour, and as well decrease the bulk density. It's also shown that the diffraction patterns of S-ray diffraction of the biscuit, of the fermented and malted millet flour while baking also resulted in reducing the crystallinity of the biscuit samples. These are the properties that are checked for in biscuit production in the food industry, and also to show if the flour that will be used in the production is good for such a purpose. Still on cereal products, my colleagues and I, Adebi et al., 2017, also studied the effect of fermentation and malting on the proximate composition, mineral content, amino acids, and total phenolic content of pear millet flour and biscuits. It was observed that fermented and malted biscuits can have higher moisture, high protein, fiber content, and the energy, but lower fat and ash than the normal native flour. So showing that this is a type of product that should be promoted. Fermentation and malting were further observed to increase the majority of the essential and non-essential amino acids. These are the nutrients that are needed for both children and adults. Apart from this, the consumer's preference test that was carried out showed various results analyzed through principal component analysis. That study concluded that fermentation and malting can improve the nutritional quality and acceptability of pure millet products. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, we also move forward to also do work on root and tubers products. Obadina et al. In 2013 focused on improving the processing and nutritional quality of the cassava snack called ajogun by blending a species of cassava called TME 419, reducing the moisture content to 40% to create a fried ajogun and modified extrudate. It was observed that there was significant difference in moisture, fat, protein, and ash level between the extrudate and control samples, while the carbohydrate, fiber, and bulk density were similar. So meaning that it is possible to improve the production of ajogun, a traditional snack that is being produced with cassava, and to get a good product with good nutritional quality. We also observed that these modified extrudates had better sensory attributes, including appearance, taste, flavor, aroma, texture, and overall acceptability. Sir, the study highlighted ajogun as a protein and fat-rich snack with enhanced processing potential. We also further our research on these friendly microorganisms as it also relates to leguminous products. Obadina et al. 2013 studied the changes in the chemical and nutritional composition of naturally fermented soy ogi at ambient temperature. Because we try to consider, sir, that instead of relying on the imported starter culture that is used in fermenting our milk to get yogurt, can't we ferment naturally? Number two, instead of relying on the so expensive milk that we don't have with us here, even though it's possible to have it, we try to see how we can explore alternative source of protein. We try to look at soy. And we did that at ambient temperature of 27 plus or minus 2 for 72 hours under natural fermentation. It was observed that the moisture, carbohydrate, and fat content decreases as expected. The minerals, calcium, iron, and magnesium rose initially between the hour of 0 to 24 during the fermentation period, but then declined while zinc increased throughout, meaning that it is possible to have soy nunu and fermented naturally. It was evident that there was an increase in protein. I think I need to mention that as well. Calcium, magnesium, zinc, and iron content during the natural fermentation of yogurt. Still on these positive microorganisms, with my colleagues, Okole et al., very recent, in 2023, we investigated how bacterial starters and natural fermentation influence the amino acid profile of condiments from African yam bean seed. African yam bean seed is an underutilized crop in this part of Nigeria. We try to see, can we use this as a condiment? And the result revealed a total of 18 amino acids, with glutamic and aspartic acid as the most abundant amino acid in the sample portion. And these are the proteins needed for condiments. We inoculated these samples with some of the organisms that we have, and we also have some that are not inoculated, but it was observed that those inoculated samples, especially with Bacillus amyloliquefaciens, had higher total amino acid content to the extent of 95.80 gram per 100 gram protein, and concentrated essential amino acids, while non-inoculated samples had slightly more non-essential amino acids. Now, Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, I want to talk about the pathogens, the enemies, the bad microorganisms. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, Obadina et al., between 2003 and 2005, studied hazards and critical control points, CCPs, in cassava fufu processing in southwest Nigeria, under the DFID-sponsored cassava fufu project, under the leadership of Professor Olusegun and the powerful cassava fufu team in FUNAAB, Professor Wale Dipeolu, Professor Adewale, Professor Olusegun, and Professor Ayinde. The research aimed to tackle food safety issues related to bacteria, and the pathogens of interest during that research are Salmonella species, Escherichia coli, and Listeria species, and viruses, e.g. norovirus, that threaten human health. Key contamination points along the processing point were identified, emphasizing the necessity for monitoring and control to ensure cassava fufu safety. With my colleagues, Obadina et al. 2013, we examined the hazards in grilled cow meat, suya processing at 25 centers in Abeokuta, Ogun State. We observed very interesting results, sir. The microbiological analysis revealed contamination by coliform, Bacillus cereus, Salmonella species, Shigella species, and Staphylococcus aureus, indicating poor hygiene of most of these grilled cow meat suya processing in the town. The study emphasized the need for educating suya processors on hazards, the critical control points along their processing chain, and the hygiene practices. In another research, under these negative roles of microorganisms, with my colleagues, Adewale et al., 2015, we studied the quality and safety status of traditional smoked fish from Lagos State, Nigeria. Samples of fresh and smoked fish that were made using drum kill methods were analyzed. The study showed that smoking affects the quality of fish and significantly reduces the moisture content of smoked fish and the quality indices such as the free fatty acid, TPA, and peroxide value. However, samples of the smoked fish show the presence of Listeria monocytogenes, which may constitute a threat to public health. This is just to buttress what I've said earlier. The food may be nutritious. The food may look attractive, but that doesn't mean that that food may not contain pathogens, disease-causing microorganisms. Meaning that food security cannot be without food safety. Also, Obadina 2024 contributes to the development of the Encyclopedia of Food Safety, the second edition, published by Elsevier with world-renowned food safety experts. The chapter focuses that is the chapter that I contributed to, focuses on how vulnerability to foodborne diseases arises from weakened immune systems due to factors like age, pregnancy, poor nutrition, health conditions such as AIDS and cancer, and immunosuppressive therapies. This also covers vulnerable groups with the common pathogens and their susceptibility. When I was giving preamble about these friend enemies, I mentioned that there are some of these microorganisms that they produce something, secondary metabolite, a chemical in the food. The organisms may be destroyed along the processing line, but if those toxins or chemicals or secondary metabolites produced by these microorganisms, if they are still within the food and the food is consumed, it's going to cause problem. One of such chemical or secondary metabolite is what we call mycotoxins. My colleagues and I, Bamidele et al., 2017, studied the bacterial species and mycotoxin contamination associated with locust bean, melon, and their fermented products in southwestern Nigeria. The study identified 200 bacterial isolates from 14 species of microorganisms, mainly bacillus, which happen to be 25% of the organisms, and staphylococcus 23.5%, with potential pathogens like bacillus anthracis, indicating poor hygiene. Another interest here is about the toxins. And we are able to discover that 7 different types of mycotoxins, including aflatoxin B1, were detected at low levels, particularly in melon and ogiri, highlighting the need for improved hygiene and processing practices among vendors and processors. The level does not mean. What we need is that there should be no mycotoxins in the food. With my colleagues, Adekoya et al., in 2017, we studied the safety and quality of some fermented food in Nigeria with fungi. The study employs cluster sampling to obtain different fermented food: maize grill ogi, locust bean, iru, sorghum meal ogi, ogi baba, dry locust beans, dry iru, African oil bean seed ugba, and melon ogiri from southwest Nigeria. The study found 17 fungi genera, with Aspergillus flavus being the most common, while Fusarium was present in all samples except Ogibaba. These organisms that I'm mentioning, they are mold, and they are the type of organisms that produce these mycotoxins that we are talking about. My colleagues and I, Adekoya et al., 2017, also studied mycotoxin contamination in Nigeria fermented food from southwest Nigeria. In this, we took 199 samples and we used high-tech equipment, LCMX, MX, to test for the possibility of this mycotoxin in those fermented food. And 82% tested positive with aflatoxin B1 in 83% of Ogibaba, and aflatoxin B1 in 20% of Ugba. This aflatoxin B1 is the toxin responsible for cancer. Multi-mycotoxin contaminants also present, and 98% of sellers of all these various products were unaware of what we call mycotoxins, indicating a correlation with low education of these processors. The study emphasized the necessity for mycotoxin control and awareness programs. A follow-up of this study was also carried out in other climes by the same researchers, Adekoya et al., in 2018. We tried to collect different fermented products in Nigeria and in South Africa, and we now try to check for both the bacteria and the mold. and we found that there are a lot of bacteria that belongs to the family of Enterobacteriaceae in the samples. And we also discovered variation in the concentration of endotoxins that are produced. And the lowest endotoxin concentration was found in Ogi, and the highest in Eru, while we have 44% in a fermented beer that is popular in South Africa. This is the first comprehensive report on endotoxins in fermented food and beverages in Africa. In another research, Kukpolui et al. Last year studied the effect of steeping on fungal contamination and diversity in achi seeds sold in some selected markets in Lagos State, Nigeria. Achi seed is also an underutilized seed that most of our people from the southeastern of the country use in making their techniques. Steeping, this seed, normally they soak them at different days within, at 30-70 degrees Celsius for different days. We discovered that this steeping increased the load of fungi in about achi seed processing method, and also to say that this was the first report in Nigeria on achi seed. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, I want to talk about few work that we did on antibiotic resistance. The effect of common antibiotics on food pathogens was studied. Sir, permit me to present some of our findings. My colleagues and I, Adewale et al., 2024, examined the prevalence of Listeria species and its antimicrobial resistance in fresh fruits from markets, selected markets in Lagos State, Oyo State, and Ondo State, Nigeria. And the results are, out of the 540 samples that were analyzed, 60 of these samples contain Listeria species. Also, Listeria monocytogen to be specific, with 56.76% showing virulence genes. Now, this is telling us that those pathogens, those bad microorganisms that can be found in our food, especially fruits, can have antimicrobial or antimicrobial resistant properties. So it is possible that consuming this type of microorganisms with our food, and we decide to go and use antibiotics, it may not work. So the study revealed high resistance rate to common erythromycin at 96.67% and amoxicillin clavulanic acid at 93.33%. Poor hygiene and storage practices are responsible for this, which is a food safety risk, potentially leading to untreatable listeriosis outbreak. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, how can these harmful bacteria be controlled? We also try to do some work on this. In this section on my contributions to knowledge, I and my students and colleagues researched how to enhance food security with strategies to maximize the benefit of positive microorganisms while mitigating the risk associated with harmful ones. My colleagues and I, Adewale et al. 2015, studied the effect of smoking methods on microbial safety, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and heavy metal concentration of traditional smoked fish from Lagos State. And it was observed that this process had better microbial safety with no Listeria monocytogen found. The heavy metals in all the samples collected were within the WHO safety limits, and the study concluded that using the convective kill smoking method is safe, and it can also lower health risks from microbial contamination and polyaromatic hydrocarbons if it is well done. Still on controlling these harmful microbes. The possibility of preventing microbial hazards on fresh cut lettuce by adopting food safety and hygienic practices by lettuce farmers was determined by Latifa and Obadina in 2017. The study examined food safety and hygiene practices using the food safety and hygienic method on microbial safety of fresh cut lettuce in Lagos, Nigeria. Lettuce from the farms where food safety and hygiene practices were put into place showed lower microbial count than those lettuce from the farms that do not follow food safety and hygiene practices. So, the study concluded that food safety and hygiene practices should be encouraged in our various fruit and vegetable farms. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, in terms of urban capacity building and university services, I want to talk about my contribution under education and awareness. Food safety is a crucial public health concern that impacts citizens' health and economic stability. Recent foodborne illness outbreak, such as cholera in 2024, emphasized the need for proactive measures to secure the food supply. In 2024, my colleagues and I studied the hygiene practices in different green leafy vegetable markets in various states within Nigeria under the research supporting African MSMSEs to deliver sustainable, safe, and nutrition food, RSM to SNF project funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The result of the survey led to the development of several policy briefs for each of these states, and to state that some of the governors of these states have invited us to come and share with them our findings, and they've also collected some of these policy briefs, and we are also looking forward to how to help them to improve food safety standard within their various states, sir. Part of what we did was to look or check for the status of toilets and water available for use in various markets within some of these selected states in Nigeria. And the states are Cross River, Kaduna, Ebonyi, Oyo, FCT, Plateau, Borno, and Kebbi State. From the table, we can see that in all these states, we only have 100 functional toilets, 100 in all the markets within FCT. All the markets in FCT, just 100 are functioning. Okay, let me go to the shared. Let me look at the water sources in these toilets, in this market. In Cross River State, just 2 major water sources are available in all the markets. 30 in Kaduna, and this is because in Kaduna State, the chief executives has improved the market, the status of market in Kaduna State. In fact, he has built a modern market structure in Kaduna State, and that is why we're able to have sources of water up to 30 in all the different markets within the state. We can see the results on the screen. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir. From the survey, it was reported that the government should invest in the construction of more modern toilets to reduce the trader-to-toilet ratio in the state. They should monitor and control the hygiene in the market. The environmental health officers, which are lacking, should be empowered to regularly monitor the hygiene practices of the people in the market and sanction them if there is a need. For concerning human capacity, I have coordinated several workshops on food safety within and outside Nigeria, such as training of enterprises on the development and implementation of ISO 22005, which was executed by UNIDO on behalf of ECOWAS and funded by EU. I was also involved in the trainer food safety training in some states in Nigeria, Kebbi and Kaduna State. I also coordinated the basic and advanced food safety and hygiene best practices and regulatory standards in some states in Nigeria, sponsored by Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition Gain in 2023. I was also involved or coordinate the training workshop on product standard and quality improvement for MSMEs that involve food and agro processors in Nigeria, which was sponsored by Commonwealth Secretary, London, UK. Of recent, November, December last year, I was also involved in training of trainers workshop on food safety for enterprise support organizations from Nigeria, Benin Republic, Uganda, Ethiopia, Mozambique, and Kenya. In terms of mentorship and research guidance, I have successfully supervised 9 Doctor of Philosophy students who graduated in the last 5 years, over 20 master degree students, and more than 100 undergraduate students in research areas related to food safety, biotechnology innovations, and sustainable food production, both within and outside the country. Capacity building in policy and regulation. My expertise has been used in equipping policymakers, regulators, and industry stakeholders with knowledge of global food safety standards and risk management strategies, such as Food Safety Strategy for Africa, FSSA. I was opportune to chair the committee that drafted the implementation plan for this FSSA for the continent. I was also part of the Codex approved, the committee that worked on the just approved coded guidelines for food hygiene in traditional markets globally. I'm also a member of the WHO Guideline Development Group that are working on how to reduce public health risk associated with the sale of live wild animals of mammalian species in traditional food markets globally. I was also part of the committee or team that developed guidelines for good hygienic practices for fish and fish products. In my capacity as a professor, I actively contribute to strengthening the higher education ecosystem through academic leadership. I have led initiatives to develop and improve academic programs in food safety, biotechnology, and related disciplines, advocating for interdisciplinary approaches to curriculum design, incorporating elements of sustainability, public health, and innovation, such as curriculum development for Master of Science in Food Safety and Food Fermentation with Professor Folarin Oguntoyinbo from Appalachian University, USA, sponsored by the Carnegie African Development Fellowship Program here in FUNAAB. I was also, it has been mentioned by the Vice-Chancellor, the chair of the committee that reviewed the food science and technology curriculum for Nigerian polytechnics. In terms of research and innovation promotion, I have established collaborative research networks between FUNAAB and international institutions, such as the Federal Research Institute for Animal Health in Germany, University of Johannesburg, South Africa, International Livestock Research Institute, Erie in Kenya, and Embrapa Post-Harvest Institute, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Quality assurance and accreditation. As the chair of the Global Harmonization Initiative, GHI Food Safety, Education and Training Working Group, I've been involved in contributing to the development and implementation of quality assurance frameworks to uphold academic excellence in food safety programs and to ensure compliance with global standards. Conclusion. Food safety can be significantly improved by leveraging the dual role of microorganisms as frenemies in food production and preservation. Probiotic bacteria play a crucial role in supporting human health and improving gut health and boost immunity. One of the significant challenges to food security is post-harvest losses, which can be addressed through biopreservation. Lactic acid bacteria generate antimicrobial substrates that can help to prevent spoilage, thus extend the shelf life of perishable foods. Likewise, in livestock and aquaculture, probiotics and microbial feed additives enhance animal health, productivity, and disease resistance, ensuring a consistent supply of animal protein. Recommendation. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, the government should promote the use of microorganisms in food processing and waste management. This includes supporting microbial fermentation and biopreservation to reduce food losses and utilizing probiotics in livestock and aquaculture to boost productivity. Additionally, investing in research, establishing regulatory frameworks, and providing incentives for microbial biotechnology applications will ensure sustainable food production and safety. To the university, sir, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, needs to promote the knowledge of food safety among students. Hence, a compulsory course at the 300 level for all students on food safety. 2, offer postgraduate and part-time programs on food safety for personnel in the food industry around Abeokuta environs. 3, develop a center for food safety and security where research and capacity building of people will be facilitated. Acknowledgement. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, I would like to begin by expressing my deepest gratitude, particularly to God. Throughout the intricate journey of my career, I have encountered numerous challenges and opportunities. I am eternally grateful for God's guiding hand, which has helped me navigate these situations and ultimately reach this point. I express my heartfelt gratitude to my parents, late Pa Emmanuel Oluyemi Obadina, and late have been the bedrock of my achievements. I'm deeply indebted to them for instilling in me the values of perseverance and dedication, which have propelled me to this momentous occasion. Thank you, sir and ma. I thank my in-laws and all the Akojedes for all the love you have shown to me over the years. I appreciate my father-in-law, Mr. Joseph Oluwafemi Akojede, which is here, and my mother-in-law, late Mrs. Deborah Olubisi Akojede. I appreciate the love and support of Daddy and Mommy Oni in diaspora, which I believe they are also watching this lecture. Mr. and Mrs. Julius Akojede, they are also here in our midst. Uncle Sheye and our Auntie Me, Debbie Folarin in diaspora, they are also watching. Uncle David Akojede and his wife. My wife's brother, Larry Akojede, and his wife, Shola Akojede, with their children, Ayomide and Iremide, they are also here with us for their love and support. I express my gratitude to the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Babatunde Kehinde, who allowed me to go and serve the continent when the call came knocking. I thank you, sir. Also, for granting me the opportunity to have this inaugural lecture today. I appreciate all my siblings, starting from my senior brother, Mr. Bamidele Obadina, my junior sister, Anolu Obadina, my junior brother, Olusegun Obadina, and the Obadina's family within and in diaspora. I extend my sincere appreciation to my own auntie, Mrs. Modupe Idowu. She's also here with her family, for her immense contribution to my life. Also to all my cousins from both sides of the family, I appreciate all my numerous nieces and nephews, the Okunawas, the Kalejayes, the Adekoyas, Olunugas, etc. Thank you so much. I extend my gratitude to FUNAAB as an institution and to all the key actors in FUNAAB whom God has used to provide me with exceptional platform to flourish and achieve numerous milestones. I give all the glory to God for allowed me to be nurtured in this great citadel of learning. I'm deeply indebted to all the vice-chancellors of this university who have played significant roles in creating and maintaining the high academic excellence in FUNAAB, which has shaped my career and supported my professional development. The first Vice-Chancellor of FUNAAB, late Professor Norodin Nembe Adedipe, Professor Julius Okoje, late Professor Israel Folonsho Adu, Professor Ishola Adamson, Professor Oluwafemi Balogun. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, permit me to make a special mention of Professor Olushola Bandelo Oyewole, who was my head of department and supervisor at the undergraduate at the temporary site of the FUNAAB Isalegbeyin. Let me also mention that he was my teacher in secondary school at Reverend Kuti Memorial Grammar School. He was my supervisor at He appointed me as the director of the Biotechnology Center and now my boss at the Association of African Universities, AAU Accra in Ghana. He is my teacher, supervisor, mentor, father, and boss. God used him to make me what I am today. I say thank you to you for your investment in my life. My Vice-Chancellor, sir, I want to thank the immediate past Vice-Chancellor, Professor Felix Kolawole Salako, under whom I serve as the head of Department of Food Science and Technology, FST. I extend my sincere gratitude to all former and current Deputy Vice-Chancellors for their invaluable contributions to FUNAAB as an institution. Professor Tio Tayo, Professor A.R.T. Sholarin, Professor S.T. Olagoke, Professor O.J. Ariyo, Professor I.C. Aromosele, Professor Tio Arowolo, Professor C.F.I. Onwuka, Professor Wahid Adekojo, Professor Mrs. O. Eromosele, Professor Mrs. M. Dikpeolu, Professor L. Osone, Professor C.O. Adeofun, Professor Mrs. B.I. Akeredoluale, Professor C.O. Nikeobi. To my two brothers, who are the current DVC, Professor Akinyemi O.D., the DVC Academics, and Professor K. Adebayo, whom we call Amsterdam, DVC Development. Thank you. I express my heartfelt gratitude to the entire College of Food Science and Human Ecology, COLFHEC family, for their unwavering support and dedication. I appreciate all the former deans who laid the foundation for COLFHEC's success. Your visionary leadership and tireless effort have significantly contributed to advancing our college. late Professor S.A. Awonorin, Professor Folake Enshaw, Professor Latif Soni, Professor M.A. Idowu, Professor W.A.O. Afolabi, and the present dean, my own sister, Professor Mobolaji Omemu. My gratitude also extends to all the past and present Deputy Dean of COLFHEC. I would like to also extend my heartfelt gratitude to all my teachers in the Department of Food Science and Technology, Professor Obioyewole, Professor Folake Enshaw, Professor M.O. Idowu, Professor L. Osoni, and colleagues in the department, Professor T.A. Shitu, Professor A.A. Adewale, Professor O. Bishobukola, Professor Ganiya Olatunde, and Professor A.A. Adeola. Also, Dr. Olatudun Kaji Awusa, my present acting head of department, Dr. Adebukola Omidiran, Dr. Celestina Omo Emi, Dr. Oluwafemi Ojo, Dr. A.F. Adegoke, Dr. Oludare Adekoyeni, and Dr. Olufumilayo Adeniran. Your unwavering support, stimulating discussions, and shared commitment to excellence have been a constant source of inspiration throughout my academic journey. The collaborative spirit and intellectual curiosity that characterize our department have not only enriched my research and teaching, but also our daily interactions, both challenging and immensely rewarding. I extend my gratitude to the esteemed members of the Biotechnology Center, starting with the directors, past directors, Professor Sylvia Uzoshuko, Professor Ishola Adamson, Professor Okunlawo Onogbeson, Professor Emeritus Professor Olufumilayo Adebambo, Professor Akin Popola, Professor Olufunke Shitu, and the present director, Professor Ayotunde Olutumilinu Adebambo. The staff of the center, Mr. Ibiwumi Oloye, Mr. Pius Okole, Mr. Shorunke, Mr. Akinola, Mr. Shorunke, Lewo, Mrs. Ayola, Dr. Olajumoke Williams, Mr. Falomo, and the late Mrs. Shola Lawale. Your unwavering support is deeply appreciated. My Vice-Chancellor, sir, I am also thankful to the research fellows attached to the center from different colleges when I was the director. Professor A. Akinyemi, Professor Emily Ayo John, Professor Ayo Von, Professor O.S. Sakariyawo, Professor M.I. Takit, Professor Yabode Kehinde, Professor Mobolaji Bankole, Dr. A.S. Adenaike, and Dr. Matthew Weto. Sir, please permit me to appreciate different development partners that have contributed immensely to my career through the award of research grants such as DFID, EU, TWAS, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, USAID, and African Union Commission. No professor is self-made. First, you are what you are by the special grace of Almighty God. Secondly, one is a product of the students and other researchers with whom you have collaborated. I want to acknowledge all my students that are within and outside the country. Many of them are outside, some of them are HODs, some of them are also lecturers. And these are some of them. This picture is showing my students when we traveled for a conference on food safety in South Africa. All of them are PhD holder now. In addition, I extend my sincere appreciation to, I need to mention this, I'm sorry, Professor Oluwabukola Mobolaji Omemu, especially, and to late Professor Mojisola Edema. And I also want to appreciate Mr. Olajuwon Odebumi. I usually call him my big boss. All these people have contributed and support me one way or the other to achieve what I am today. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, sir, my life will not be completed or will not be complete without God and the people of God that surrounded me. I had the opportunity to serve God at the Apostolic Faith Church. I thank the Superintendent General of the Apostolic Faith Church, Reverend Olusola Adeshokpe, the District Superintendent of West and Central Africa, Reverend Isaac Adigun, who is also the visitor to Crawford University, The immediate former overseer, present overseer of Ogun Central, Reverend Olushola Bamidele Adeliyi, Reverend Oludotun Omosonya, and every member of the Apostolic Faith Church. My fellow brothers and sisters, with whom we started together as members of the Campus Association of Visiting Secretaries. Sir, to my wonderful children, thank you for your boundless curiosity, joy, and understanding, your enthusiasm for learning, and your faith in me have continuously reminded me of the importance of dedication and hard work. You have each motivated me to strive for excellence, and I hope this moment can stand as a testament to what determination and unity can achieve. My academic career and one important aspect of my destiny commenced almost the same time. A year after my PhD defense, I got married to my wife, Mrs. Oluwafemi Balogun Obadina. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to her, whose unwavering support, love, and patience have sustained me throughout my journey. Her encouragement and confidence in my abilities inspire me to persevere, even when challenges seem insurmountable. My stride, though the academic world, was because she remained a formidable power in my life. She has remained a faithful daughter of the Almighty God and a very faithful, responsible, and holy wife. With her together, we have been blessed with 4 children, namely Zion, Blessed, Goodness, and Mercy. This achievement would not have been possible without each of you by my side. Thank you. I love you all. I want to thank everyone for attending this 101 inaugural lecture of Federal University of Agriculture titled The Inevitable Frenemies in Food Security. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Please, you can be seated. Please, you may be seated. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Professor Obadina. Thank you so very much for delivering the lecture. We appreciate you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the delivery of the 101st inaugural lecture of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, delivered by Professor Adewale Olusegun Obadina. Thank you so very much for your listening attention. And before I go ahead, please, once again, I want to apologize for the electrical hitch at the beginning of the program. We're sorry for that. Thank you. On behalf of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, I present this award to you, Professor Adewale Olusegun Obadina. It's an award of honor as our 101st inaugural lecturer of the university, dated this day, 16th of April, 2025. Congratulations. And we have some products here that the Frenemies have contributed to produce to you, sir, as produced by the Frenemies that we have just talked about. Thank you so very much. Please, you may be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your listening attention. But before we go, please permit me to once again acknowledge the presence of some special dignitaries in our midst, and to also thank you for staying through. Of course, our revered academic, Emeritus Professor Peter Okebukola was with us. We want to acknowledge his presence and to thank him. is the president, Global University Network for Africa. Also, we have in our midst Professor Emeritus Charles Awo from the University of Ibadan. Thank you so very much, sir, Prof. You are welcome. Thank you, sir. Of course, we have Professor Modupe Asokia, the Pro-Chancellor of Crawford University. I think she also left towards the end of the lecture. And of course, our own, the fifth substantive Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Professor and Mrs. Olushola Oyewole. Thank you so very much. In fact, you can say that Professor Olusegun Adewale Obadina was made in FUNAAB by Oyewole Nigeria Limited. We have also in our midst Professor Ruben Kolo, the Vice-Chancellor of Crawford University. Thank you so very much, sir, Vice-Chancellor. You are welcome. In addition, we have in our midst Professor Onyekon Taser from Michigan State University in the United States of America. Thank you so much for joining us. And Reverend Oludotun Omosonya, the District Overseer of Ogun East Apostolic Faith. Thank you so very much for joining us. We also want to recognize the presence of Professor Lale Kondairo from the Redeemers University and to thank you for coming. Of course, like the inaugural lecturer said, we want to join him to thank and appreciate the presence of every member and senior officers of the Apostolic Faith Church. Thank you so much for coming. And also, we appreciate and thank Professor Adegboyega Aladegbola, the Deputy Vice-Chancellor from Crawford University. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. We have the Bursar of Crawford University also in attendance, Mrs. Olukemi Ojuayeni, the Bursar, Crawford University. You are welcome. Also, Dr. Olushola Aino, the Director, Gender and Leadership Center from Crawford University. Thank you very much. Crawford has moved to Abeokuta this afternoon. And our own Vice Rector of the Pan-African University from Yaoundé in Cameroon, Professor Bolanle Akeredoluale. Thank you so much, former Deputy Vice-Chancellor of FUNAAB. We also want to thank and welcome and appreciate Professor Adewale Dikpeolu, aka Professor Mrs. Morenike Dikpeolu. You are welcome. Thank you, former Deputy Vice-Chancellor of FUNAAB. Professor Olanyoju Adeniyi, former Vice-Chancellor, Landmark University. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it has been indeed a wonderful time having you around. Thank you so much for coming to our 101st inaugural lecture. We look forward to you joining us for the 102nd inaugural lecture. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Let's give the Vice-Chancellor a sounding applause. Thank you, sir. May we all be seated, please. Announcement. Let's be seated. We have come to the end of the 101st inaugural lecture of this great citadel of learning. Members of the high table and the procession to exit the hall through the central hall here. Guests of the inaugural lecturer to exit the hall through exit B by my left-hand side. Academic staff to exit this hall through the exit A by my right-hand side, while non-teaching staff should exit the hall after the procession through the central hall. The students should remain in the gallery for the entertainment. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the 104th inaugural lecture of this great citadel of learning, the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, the best the FUNAAB anthem, followed by the national anthem.
For the mouse is far
Thank you. The national anthem, please.
Nigeria.